This meeting of the Letter Board of Selectmen on Thursday, September 26th to order. The reason we're a few minutes late, as I assume you've probably been told, is we've been having our quarterly meeting as the sewer commissioners down in Sunapee, and we had a longer discussion about some things than we thought we were going to, but we had a very short discussion on a matter that I think everybody will be delighted to hear, which is that the wastewater rate for New London for the coming year is going to be $53.19, down from $65.45 currently. We have had some excellent work being done by Sam Clark and his team on figuring out where we had some problems in the system and so on, and so for the first time in a long while, we're actually got our rate going down, and this is going to be of great benefit to the sewer users here in New London. The flows have been gone down substantially here, while they've been going up in Sunapee, and I think we left the Sunapee commissioners trying to figure out why, but we came home. So that's great news from the sewer meeting. We also approved wastewater plant budget for the new year, which is up about 5%. Otherwise, it was just we learned the normal things we learn about how the plant's operating and so on, and encourage any of you sometime to join us down there some night. And the next meeting is Halloween night, October 31st. So sometime maybe you'd like to come and learn about what we do down there. We're outnumbered. There's 7 of them and only 3 of us.
But our votes count.
Any public comments? Anything that's not on our agenda for tonight? Okay, that's easy. Okay, under old business, I just talked about the sewer and the future uses of Buker. We always have this on our agenda, and one of you want to describe what Bruce Parsons suggested about the Sallyport? Do you have an extra pen? Do you have an extra writing instrument?
At our last meeting of the police department subcommittee, Bruce suggested that if the police do move from this building, from Buker, that we hang on to the Sallyport. It can be dressed up. The exterior could be fixed up cosmetically so that it's not such an eyesore in the middle of town. And I agree with him. I said, I don't think that if the police do move, that we should wait at least a year to see what is needed, what departments need space, and see how it all shakes out. So, but I thought it was a good recommendation that Bruce made. And, so we're happy to hear any suggestions people have about different things. So
I think, so far we had a month ago a discussion, the 3 of us, about maybe moving just some of the office staff here onto the first floor and doing something different downstairs. And then last meeting, Kim suggested moving all of the people from the Academy building down here and using the whole Buker building, and then using the Academy for some other purposes. And then we had this suggestion from the advisory committee to think about creatively about how recreation and the Sallyport might work together. So keep coming. We've got a couple more months to put this all together, and it's going to continue to be on the agenda every night. Anybody else want to comment on Buker tonight? What do you all come for? Okay, the next item on our agenda is we've been sitting down and thinking about the fact that there's only 6 more meetings after tonight scheduled for the remainder of this calendar year. We wanted to make sure that we had an outline of the things we thought we were going to try to accomplish during that period of time, and undoubtedly there'll be other things that come up. And so I'll just start walking down through this, and why don't you all I'll stop after each meeting and you can interrupt me. We thought that at our next meeting on October 10th, we expect, from what we heard from the Police Advisory Committee meeting last Friday, that they're going to meet again on the 4th, and we think they're going to provide bring some proposals forward to us on October 10th, so we've got a fairly significant piece of that meeting scheduled to hear from the Police Advisory Committee. We're going to, at that meeting, have a group of people from Elkins who've given us a petition with 100 signatures on it. Not that many? 50?
I don't know how many yet. It's a group of people, it's not necessarily all voters.
A petition to ask us to apply to the state to move the swim line in Elkins. That's a very controversial issue among people who use the Elkins Beach. And then we're going to plan to have an update on where we are on the recreation programs and sort of a summary of what happened this summer on the beach, so beaches. I think that'll fill that week up, that meeting up, plus all the normal things that we have. And then on October 24th, we acknowledge, and you may have seen on the schedule, that the Housing Commission is going to have a housing forum the night before on October 23rd at 6 o'clock in Wheeler Hall at the college, and their consultants are going to come forward and bring us up to date, I think, on what their housing ideas are at this point. And then we meet on the that's on the 23rd. We meet on the 24th, and then we have our budget workday with all the department heads on the 25th. So in between there, we're going to continue to talk about the police situation, depending on how far we get on the 10th with Colliers and LBA. Michael Todd's going to join us that night with Will to do pre-election planning. There's an election on November 5th, you may have heard. We're hoping that by the 24th, we heard back from the Department of Revenue and be able to set the town tax rate that night, although frequently that happens on an off date because of the Department of Revenue doesn't recognize when our meetings are. And then we also, by that point, hope to have an update from the Planning Board and the CIP. Is that gonna happen, BB?
Adam's still working through the software, so we were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow morning. We're moving it 1 week. 'Cause he's
Maybe I
still
should ask
working
Lynn.
it out, but we will have it ready.
Okay. It's almost there. So far, so good, okay. Then the first meeting in November, 2 days after the election, we expect to complete our budget. We'll have the workshop on the 25th, and as we did last year, we'll go home and look at a few things and come back and complete our budget and submit it to the Budget Committee, hopefully having also the benefit of the CIP information by then. Set sewer rates for next year. I just told you about this, our share of the wastewater plant, that's part of it, and the other part is running the system locally. Set that rate and set dispatch rates for next year. And then hopefully get an update from the Energy Committee on the RFPs that they are, responses to RFPs they've sent out for their solar project. So that's a significant piece of information to get before we get too far through budgeting. So really, I think for the next 3 meetings, it's going to be a combination of police, getting ready for the budget, working on the budget, setting tax rates, dispatch rates, sewer rates, a lot of financial stuff. Bring your calculators. BB's faster than the calculating people down at Sunapee.
After attending tonight's Sunapee Sewer meeting, and every time we go, I ask about where they stand with their solar array at the wastewater treatment plant, because it seems to me it would be an ideal spot and it would save on the electric bills. And they don't seem to get anywhere with the Selectmen. So I think the 3 of us should go to a Sunapee Selectmen's meeting and ask to be on their agenda and advocate for this. So I'll try to find out when their meetings are, and then I'll
We
check.
do that and work with Kim and get it.
Yeah, we'll work on that, and then ask that we can be, at the beginning of their meetings.
Okay.
Then for our last meeting in November, November 21st, before Thanksgiving, we're hoping by then to have collected enough information from feedback we get from people and doing the cost work that we're working on Buker, and be able to combine the work that we have done on Buker with the work that Colliers and LBA have done, so that when we go to the residents forum on December 13th, we will have a decent proposal, a presentation to make of everything that was asked for at town meeting. First draft, if you will, and get feedback from that. By that point, maybe is the planning board going to have any zoning potential proposals this year?
There may be a couple of things. I spoke with Adam yesterday, and he's not sure at this point, but there might be something.
Yeah, okay. But, certainly by early December, we need to know about those because of the hearings that have to take place and so on.
Right.
And then for our last meeting of the year, we will be getting ready for town meeting logistics. We've still got open the issue of what time are we actually going to start the meeting, because there's been some desire to start earlier. Yeah. And the question about whether we provide daycare and how we do that, and whatever other issues you could come up with, Will, between now and then about town meeting. Oh, and I guess I left off of there that in the second November meeting that we're also going to ask the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee to come and tell us how they're doing. They've been working on a number of different thoughts, and I gather they're going to have some thoughts on sidewalks.
I think you might hear from them before then.
Okay. I'm not sure where it's going to fit in before if we're doing all these other things, but that's good.
Yep, and I'm going to add one more thing, and that's the septic ordinance,
Yes, okay.
which we're finalizing the draft of that right now. I've given everybody a deadline by tomorrow to give me any edits for it. We're putting together a community group of 9 or 10 people that we're going to meet with the third week of October to bounce it around and get feedback from them, people that have septic systems that live in town, and business owners that have septic systems, and Conservation Commission members, and quite an assortment of people that we don't usually hear from, another good group of people.
Good.
And then I'll be coming back to present to the both of you what everybody's come up with, and
I think that might be by maybe the first week in November?
Yeah,
That makes sense?
yeah.
We were coming out of the sewer meeting, you were commenting on the nice turnout at the last bicycle
Yeah.
pedestrian meeting of a whole group of people that we normally don't see.
Absolutely. Great group of people. That's part of my report on my.
Oh, okay, I won't. I'll save it. Okay. You all have any thoughts, things we're missing? Rich?
Rich Epstein, resident. Just, is the petition about the Elkins Beach available? Is it on the website? How can somebody see it?
Well, Rich's question is, can people see the petition for the Elkins?
About the Elkins Beach, is a petition?
Yes.
Is it on the website? Somebody?
No.
Oh.
It's multiple
How can
pages.
somebody see it?
We could give it to you.
Okay.
I think Kim's actually physically got it, so Monday.
Okay.
When she gets back.
I
Great.
guess the question, Rich, is do you want to see what the petition says, or do you want to see who the signatories are? Because,
Can I see both?
well, the issue is that maybe,
It's not,
Yeah.
Okay.
no, maybe 10 pages, with one signature on them.
Okay, I'm more interested in what it says
What it
versus,
says, okay. Basically, what it says is, we want the town to, when it renews its, the swim line has to be approved by the state, because it's in the water, and the state's responsible for the water, and it asks that the application for 2025 move the swim line back to a position it was in several years ago.
does it say why?
What?
And maybe I'll see it when I see that. I'm curious why.
I'm sure they're going to come and make a whole presentation to us.
Okay.
So, I don't want to do anything to spoil their presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? That's it? Okay, moving right along then.
John?
What? Oh, sorry, John, missed you, sorry.
Situation of
Identify yourself for the,
John Ellis, New London. When on the agenda are we going to discuss the water precinct and the water situation?
it's not on the agenda this evening, that would have been
No,
under public
no.
comments.
No, I know that.
Oh, you mean on the future?
I meant the future. You said,
Oh,
is there
okay.
anything else in the future?
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
I understood that.
You may know the Water Precinct is meeting, having its monthly meeting. I saw on the notice the other day on October 7th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon in this room again. So they're having their monthly meeting in this room until they come forward with something to talk to us about. We have no dog in this game right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. We are very concerned about it. We're hoping that they're going to come forward with some proposals, I might add. I don't mean to blow off the idea that we're not interested in it, but we're not the water precinct. They've got to come forward with some suggestions. If you were at the last meeting on Monday, you heard a plea from a resident to start thinking about conservation projects that we could work on together and so on, but we're waiting to hear what they are. They're engaged in some legal action right now, so that maybe hold things back, so we'll see.
Yeah, but part of alluding to, I assume you're alluding to Cotton's proposal?
Yeah,
It also included, she clearly stated an involvement with the selectmen and the precinct and the housing. That was in her proposal too that she read.
well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've been very involved in promoting the Twin Pines proposal, but there's nothing for us to do there. They're in litigation between themselves,
No.
the two organizations.
Right,
It'd be inappropriate for us to be involved in that.
but we should be involved also in any meetings they have also, and she made that very clear as one of her points to move forward with well number 7. So I'm just, I think we should.
John, we go to all the meetings, and I make suggestions at their water precinct meetings, and until they come back to us with a proposal,
I understand.
the ball is in their court, and we're going to do whatever we need to do, or asked to do, but they have to make a proposal to us. So
I
we're waiting.
understand, but I think it should be on the agenda that we.
Well, I think you need to pressure them to do something.
John, are you not now an officer of the precinct?
I'm not an officer.
Oh, I thought,
3 commissioners that.
no, aren't you an assistant treasurer or something? Didn't I hear that?
Yes, I do work on that.
So you actually are, technically, you are an officer of the precinct?
I don't believe so.
I'm not a lawyer, but. Okay. Lynn, do you have a report from the town administrator?
I do. Okay, so department heads are using the new budget software for data entry for their budget line items and their narrative. So there've been a few little glitches, but we're working through them. Questica has been really good with finding, like, if something's not working quite right, it's usually that we just don't know how that works. It's a learning curve, but they've been great. I appreciate the effort that all the department heads are making in getting to know this software and getting to use it. So far, I think it's been really good. I'm able to update things, and Sam opens his budget and it's updated with what I added. So it's been working well. The only other things I want to note are some important dates. November 13th will be the first community forum for the HOP grant. This will delve into the demographics and the housing needs of our area, and it'll take place at Colby Sawyer College in Wheeler Hall at 6 p.m., and that is on our calendar if you want to take a look at that. And another important date is December 13th, as that will be your winter gathering. Topics are still to be determined, but as in the past, it will be full of current topics and information. And Colby Sawyer College has indicated that the space is available for that. I think the usual time is 8:30. I think is the time we had last time, so a morning meeting. And that's all I have.
What date did you say for the HOP grant?
November 13th?
Bill, didn't you say October 23rd?
For the what?
October 23rd is a Housing Commission meeting.
Housing
Or I'm
Commission.
Separate from, okay, those are two different meetings.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank
The Housing Commission is having a 6 o'clock at night
Yeah,
event, I think with their consultant and so on.
Is that the HOP grant?
Maybe on the HOP grant.
Okay, the HOP grant is November 13th. Housing Commission is also on October 23rd. Housing
There's
Commission,
two
so
separate-
there's two meetings.
Two separate meetings.
housing-related meetings.
Yes.
October 23rd and November 13th.
Okay.
Correct.
Do we know what time the 13th one is?
6 PM.
At Wheeler also?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that update.
You're
Correct.
welcome.
Yep. Okay, our committee meetings, I started yours already for you, BB, so go ahead.
Yes, bicycle, so as I said, no CIP meeting since the last Selectmen's meeting, and the bike ped meeting last Thursday, which I wasn't there for, but watched the recording. Again, well, I did attend a couple days before a tour of the sidewalks with Sam and some of the committee members. Learned a ton from Sam. He's doing a great job, and he's really doing lots of research. He knows how important this sidewalk issue is to everybody living in town. And so we had a lot of really great conversations, especially on focusing that slot of sidewalk between the Hogan Center up to the Clevelands, which isn't part of the water project, so it's something that can be focused on sooner rather than the rest of the sidewalks in town. At the Bike Ped Committee meeting the other night, also, one of the members, his first name is Grant, forgive me because I forget his last name, he invited a lot of bicycling families to come to the meeting. There were a ton of people sitting here in the audience, a lot of young families that were speaking up about how much they'd like to see more mountain biking trails around town, and they've already reached out to the Conservation Committee. Mark Vernon was here and spoke, and they're trying to do some things together, which I thought was fantastic, because a lot of these folks that we don't often see at our meetings, and it was really fun to see the excitement in the room with these folks. And the next meeting for Bike Ped Committee, we're trying to work the date around a little bit. It'll be October and probably around the 14th or 15th, and we're going to be talking then about the recommendations that this committee will make to the selectmen ahead of budget season. So Kim has encouraged that Russ, the chair, to try to put something together for us ahead of our jamboree on the 25th. So that's why I'm saying
Okay.
we might see them drop into that 24th meeting.
Okay.
And that's it.
But Russ and Kim had sort of a back and forth about how to do that at the
Yeah.
last meeting, so
Yeah.
I wasn't so clear how that was going to end up, so,
Yeah, and I'm meeting with him in the morning, so,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
No CPI meetings? CIP meetings?
no,
Really?
yeah, no. No, right, Karen? No CIP meetings.
Janet?
We didn't have planning board last night. We didn't have anything on the agenda,
Wow.
so we didn't have it.
Fantastic, okay. This morning, I was at a Waste Reduction Committee meeting, and I think the interesting thing is that the combination of the compost work, which continues to create significant amounts of material that is not going into the landfill, and the reopening of the paper recycling, is that in the last month, Sam has been able to reduce the number of trailer trips to Berlin to 2 trips a week from 3. So there's an actual data point to say that the combination of the paper and the composting has allowed them to, at least for the time being, to reduce a whole trip each week up to Berlin, which is really, really significant. So that was that. Okay. Minutes of September 12th? You haven't read them? Okay, so we'll pass over them. Okay. And what? Oh, you've already sort of gone through the calendar, so I don't need to do that anymore, right? So I've got two things under other business. For some reason, this didn't get on our agenda, but Sam had talked to me this morning about this, Sam Clark, and we have two, and they got in the book here for us to sign, and it's important that we do that, I think, but rather than just sign them, we ought to at least know, the public ought to know what we're signing. The two wastewater tax abatement requests of significant amounts that demonstrate, I won't go all the reasoning here, that when we sign them, we can read all the text, but issues that have sort of accumulated over time, and they are relevant, I guess, to where'd you go? John's question about water, because these are situations where the deduct meters weren't working properly, and so people were overbilled for their sewer usage. And so these are two rebates for wastewater tax abatement, one for 420 Main Street in the amount of $2,800, and more significantly in terms of what John was asking us about is for Ledyard Bank in the amount of $4,252.66, because there'd been a problem with the deduct meter, and they do that, all that watering that we know about with their, described here as their gardens in the front of the building and so on, and that none of that water was getting, going through the deduct meter, and so they were being charged the sewage fees on that, and of course this whole issue of deduct meters and whether people are using those meters for more than just what they should be used for, and part of what we need to really start to examine as part of conservation. There are other ways to conserve besides, just taking the flushing, the dripping in the sinks and so on. So in total here, we have $7,000 of rebates to sign off on tonight for those two users, which, just problems that are created in the system over a period of time, and Sam said he's finally gotten to figure them all out. So more to be heard, I think, on those issues of water users and how much goes through deduct meters and how much doesn't go through deduct meters, and how much, as Cotton was saying on Monday, how much irrigation is actually going on and what we might be able to do about that with ordinance and so on. But again, we have to be careful because we have no teeth. Right. The water precinct has to want to do something about that. And the other item is, Kim called me from the road today, and where's my pad? She has been, she had a conversation with the owners of the land on Newport Road, and she was updating them on where we stood, where things stood and where they stood and so on. And so what I'd like to do is have us have a clear vote tonight to authorize her to continue to have those discussions, because they help us with the way our calendars work and so on. But she was concerned that the public know that we've had those discussions and that she's making, and we have authorized her to do that. So I have a proposal here to authorize the town administrator to make contact with the owners of the 7-acre parcel on Newport Road and any other sites that are at the discretion of the Police Advisory Committee, with the understanding that no site has been recommended by the Police Advisory Committee to the Board of Selectmen as of this date, and no commitments to any owner may be made without the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any other business? Let's approve the pay vouchers and the abatement things and go home.
I did. It's interesting. Yeah, definitely.